I'm alive. I didn't accidentally concede.
And didn't accidentally concede the election. Mondale Robinson, how you doing, man?
What's up, man? I'm good to be back at it. Trying to win some runoffs in Georgia. That's all.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Hello to the audience, everyone in the audience. Apologies for us starting late. It was that morning for me, and we just gonna keep popping and rocking and locking and doing what we're doing. Some crazy stuff happened over the weekend. I woke up to Donald Trump going on the Twitter meltdown, but I guess that's nothing new. He still hasn't conceded the election. Some people think he's just buying time to make some money, which I think is a reasonable kind of estimate. But he also is playing with fire. This morning or late last night, he tweeted out, "I won the election." Clearly, he didn't. Every major news outlet and everyone who's reasonable and rational is looking at this saying that it is Joe Biden's election and that's a wrap. But the president is not that way. What do y'all think? Do you think he's just buying time, or do you think he's playing with fire, or both? Go for it,
Um,
Marcus.
no, no. He can't be buying time because you can't buy time that's already sold to somebody else. Um, Donald Trump is creating an environment that's going to be easy for his television show to and his television networks to create conspiracy theories, thoughts. What's up, man? Uh, Conspiracy theories and just and just rail against mainstream media, and I guarantee you as soon as his television station comes out, because that's what it's about. It's about 24-hour network news channel / reality television spot that he's going to create, because there's absolutely no reason for him to be stoking the fans of anti-democracy, anti-constitutionalism, anti small d democracy, and that's what he's doing. So this is not a situation where this guy is buying time, because his time is out, and his time is up pretty much because even senators,
Yeah.
even the Republican senators who are basically saying, okay, you know what? Now we got to worry about re-elections. Now we got to worry about Georgia. Now we got to worry about maintaining power and control that we have. And one thing that's more powerful than Donald Trump is real power, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's more powerful than Donald Trump. So he's not buying time. He's just muddying up the water so he can galvanize his sycophant base to consistently be a Patreon of his channel.
I can see that. I can see that. Mundell, what do you think? He's buying time, wasting
Um,
time, playing with
no, we're
fire.
talking about. I think we're talking about Donald Trump, and we should remember that Donald Trump is literally trying to figure out a way how he be president for life. And he's buoyed in his thinking by Republicans like Senator Mike Lee, who goes on Twitter and say, uh, democracy is not a. I mean, it's never about a democracy. It's about life, liberty, and prosperity. So when
Hmm.
you have senators saying stuff like this, and then you also see uh, Republicans talking about it ain't about the majority. I mean, their idea of democracy doesn't have anything to do with majority. Like, they've always been the party that was okay with trickery to win. If you think about the fact that Republicans in Congress represent 15 million more Americans than Democrats, yet they have the majority in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
This is not. It's not about the majority. It's If it was about the majority's will, meaning majority of Americans, electoral colleges wouldn't be a thing, right? Now that you have the Supreme Court, a conservative Supreme Court, just ruled that there could be no, this electoral college where it can go different than the popular vote. But now you have Republicans floating the idea of how electoral colleges can go and do whatever they want to. So, I
Right.
mean, I think Donald Trump is playing with fire in that if we don't get this transition right, more people are going to die because of COVID. Um, but Donald Trump is not concerned with that. That's why he hasn't spoke on COVID forever. That's why he's been playing golf. That's why he's not been to a COVID meeting in 5 months. Donald Trump don't care about that. Donald Trump care about how does he maintain power. And this is a guy who's dead set on trying to figure that out right now. And Republicans are giving him, strength or motivation by allowing this to carry on, even though he lost 8 lawsuits in the courts on Friday alone. So his lawsuits are looking like his presidential election, where he's losing by a landslide. But he's set on figuring something else out, even to the point where he will rip apart this entire country. We see that with him firing generals and people at the Pentagon, not firing generals from the military, but from the post in the Pentagon. So we about to be worried about what Donald Trump's going on. I think for him it's about money, but it's a different type of money. It's the money of power.
Either way, it looks like we got our fight ahead of us, because I'm thinking about what you were saying, Monday, Marcus, when you're talking about the media company. I know people had talked about him doing that for some years, but I think that might be the only thing that'd get him to back down if he had his own version of Fox News. And that being the case, do you think that man could do just as much damage outside, being former president, head of Donald Trump News?
I mean, you got to understand it, man. The same way that older black folks have Martin Luther King, Jesus, and Barack Obama up on their pedestal is the same way that some of these MAGA Trump folks have white Jesus, Hitler, and Trump will be up. And Trump will be up on their sacred wall of America. We have to be very astute. I think it does have something to do with the media company. I do believe that Trump is going to do as much damage as he possibly can. I think he's also doing a lot of damage right now and doing what he does so he can act when he does step to the table with the Biden administration. It will be something like, "Hey, pardon me, or don't come after me, and I won't come after you." Right. And here it is. I show you what I can do, and I can destroy democracy every step of the way if I want to. So these are the concessions that I want before I take the furniture out of the White House.
The good thing though is we can say what we want to. Former presidents' power is usually just money. They have the ability to rake in a bunch of money. I think as ex-president, he can do less damage than he can as president, simply because we have a bunch of living presidents who Barack Obama's making a lot of money. Clinton made a lot of money when he first got out of office. Bush came from a lot of money, but I mean, their power is limited. If you consider they'll have fan base for sure, but Barack Obama is not Barack Obama of the Oval Office as much as he try to be. So I'm glad I'm just ready for like I said, January 20th. When he's out of the office, even if they have to force him out of the office, simply because I know he has less power. People are less likely to cover an ex-president than they are a president. But if he have his own channel, I think that's wonderful for his people to go over there and miss what's really going on in the world and just listen to him. I would love that all the Donald Trump fans go over to Donald Trump News and listen to that all day. It's not like they're gonna be more informed anyway. When these people see Fox and all of its lies and then turn their back on Fox for Donald Trump, I'm already knowing what this is about. This is not about facts or anything else. It's about white supremacy and it needing a home.
All right. I mean, I can see that. Donald Trump will always make himself he's going to always put himself in the news. I think if nothing else, we're going to see Donald Trump doing stunt after stunt after stunt, trying to get that news fix that he's gotten over the last 4 years. And there's nothing like he gonna have a low, he gonna have a down. When he come down from this high of all the attention he getting with the press because he's a president, and then he's gonna try to replicate that when he's not president. That's gonna be an ugly sight to see. Because that's some real paparazzi. He had that that New York socialite paparazzi, which is dope. But he never had it like he had it the last 4 years. All those cameras at all day, every day. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. All right, let's shift gears a little bit, and we can come back to that. If there's any questions in the comment section, leave them on the chat, and we'll bring the chat up on the screen. Georgia, we still have the runoff races that are happening here. We have the organizing meetings that people are reaching out. People are trying to connect. Any chance the Lincoln Project can connect with some of these good organizations on the ground down here?
I mean, listen, let's be clear. The Lincoln Project is already connected to some folk. You'd be surprised who they're working with. Um, here's the thing. Um, I mean, if we are truly serious about politics and what we say about there not being permanent friends, but permanent, and I mean no permanent enemies or friends, then the space they're occupying right now is good. But I thought the Lincoln Project was around to get rid of Donald Trump. I don't understand what they're doing now unless they're literally trying to become a part of the Democratic Party, because their whole existence was about they were never Trumpers, right? So now what are you guys doing? Are you really trying to co-opt the Democratic Party? And if so, what the Democratic Party doing by like letting y'all in this much space? So I don't know what the Lincoln Party is doing beyond this. I thought they were trying to get rid of Donald Trump, and anything other than that, and I'm suspect of them because I know they are conservative folk. The founders of it are conservative folk, and I have some serious agreement with their tactics when they were running presidential campaigns themselves. Some of them responsible for racist acts against Barack Obama. So I'll just leave that at that. Here's what I will say. Here's what I'm never. Well, we can talk about the Lincoln Project, then we'll talk about Georgia Senate races at large. But yeah, that's all I want to say.
Oh yeah. No.
I don't trust
mean,
the Lincoln Project.
yeah, I'm not worried about the Lincoln Project that much. We can go right to the race, man. What are y'all finding out on the ground? And then Marcus, if you want to throw the Lincoln Project in there under the bus, I mean, by all means. But the Georgia race overall is the main thing on our mind. What you got?
Here's what I'm nervous about. I canvass. Man, my people talk to Georgia voters, black men all over the state all the time, right?
Yeah.
And in doing so, here's what creeps me out. Sometimes I gotta fear that some of these canvassers, some of these these people on vacation campaigns are gonna come down here and some black people arrested. Let me tell you what I mean. In canvassing some of Georgia neighborhoods, it's not rare for my people to have guns pulled on them, right? But that's just a conversation of me calling them like, yo, let put them on the phone, blah, 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 or going down there and like, look, this is why we're in the hood. This is what's going on. Ain't nothing crazy. Ain't no ops over here. I gotta fear people coming out of the state gonna call the cops on some of these brothers, and we're gonna have more brothers locked up because white people coming in their neighborhoods don't understand the code, don't understand why there are people walking down the street with choppers on their leg. So what I'm afraid of is that I'm thinking nobody's having this conversation about what it means to canvass in some part of Georgia, and then it's not rare that guns are pulled on canvassers out here, and people just trying to figure out who's in their neighborhood, and I think people don't understand that, and then these white folk come down here from suburbs in Massachusetts or California, and the first thing they gonna do is call the cops, and we got black people trying to win Senate races going to jail.
Will you how much of a problem was that for you all, for you to feel like it's a guarantee going to happen, multiple times, or it was just like, something to look out for?
If you canvass in Atlanta, if you canvass in some other parts of the state, it's going to happen. 2-3 times a week, it's going to happen. Until people know and I just go pay homage. I go pay dues, check in with neighborhoods, and let people know we're in their community and who we are. Show them the website, talk to them, talk to somebody with some control of the neighborhood, and then they just give us a pass. But until people are comfortable with that pass, and some of these young bros you don't get passed. They gonna check you every time, make sure you ain't the ops.
It's if you look at some places in College Park, if you look at some places in Macon, if you look at some places in like in central Atlanta, Georgia is the blackest state when it comes down, the second blackest state. But also gentrification is one of the fastest in the state of Georgia and in the metro Atlanta area in general. And that means that when you cut your turf, and we ran into problems with this, when you cut your turf, and that means like, if you don't know what cutting turf is, like that's where you assign where your doors are and where you're going. And some of these folks are going to come to Georgia and they're going to be targeting young white voters, right? Because that's what they have that's what their skill set is, right? Right. If you're from out of town and you have never had black canvassers, then you might go to the whitest place with the most Democrats, right? And some of those places are Fourth Ward. Some of those places are like some of the blackest places are some of the whitest places also in Georgia, believe it or not, right? Like, and unless you know the street by street breakdown of it, you'd be very remiss to like cut a turf and all of a sudden you go into a neighborhood where you thought it was all white people or mostly white folks, and And it's been black folks who've been living there for the last 70 years because that's how gentrification works. So I kind of agree with Mindell on the aspect of being careful and not recognizing that even the white folks who live in some of these neighborhoods that are being gentrified understand that, okay, we have to have a certain respect for the black people who've been here already, right? And I just think about particular neighborhoods in College Park where there's one area of College Park that is growing. And College Park is a pretty black city, but gentrification, but gentrification is happening in College Park also. You'd be crazy to think that, you know, a city as black as College Park doesn't have, you know, white folks who want to live close to a metropolitan center.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then you start thinking about that, and I think about Macon, and I think about Thomasville, and I think about cities all across Georgia that have historically black places, right? Where you're going to try to do if they're going to try to do mass targeting, it's just about targeting black folks, man. If you're going to try to if you try to do mass targeting to white folks, and then some of your messaging mess around and gets to the black folks because they live right next to each other. I mean, I'm talking about places that aren't separated by the historical train tracks, right? You dig what I'm saying? I'm talking about places that, you know,
where Hammondville Road turns into Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
There you go. You got it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So it's just going to be a very interesting dynamic. And then, you know, like the puppy commercial with Pastor Warnock, right? Like,
yeah.
I know you want these commercials to make white people happy or to make like moderates happy. I know that, right? Like, but when you do a commercial it talks to everybody.
Right.
It doesn't just talk to, that's why canvassing and phone calls and targeted digital ads are way more important than
television ads.
Than these shotgun blast commercials that make people look silly and white in a black state. And hey, listen, the commercial wasn't that bad, but you could just tell it wasn't, you know, it wasn't.
Yeah.
How about this right here? You can tell a black firm didn't make that commercial.
Oh yeah, all day.
Right. So it is what it is.
I was gonna say, you're talking about gentrification, man. So I live in the pretty black side of Atlanta, and bro, there was a there was a white woman.
Did you move back?
Yeah, I moved back once it became evident I wasn't gonna be able to cover these stories from Boston. so anyway, man, there was this white chick coming running across through my neighborhood yesterday morning. I was like, hold on, where they do that at? Like, I'm like, because that's the first sign of gentrification. That's the international signal that your neighborhood is getting ready to get took over.
No, what's
white women
honestly,
running?
What's the first sign? Is it the Whole Foods or is it the white lady jogging?
Bro, it's a white lady. Hey, listen, there are no pioneers like white women.
I'm actually asking, what is the first sign?
White woman jogging.
White girl jogging,
yeah,
or the Whole Foods. But if you see one of those things pop up in the hood,
it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. You've been gentrified.
Bro, because there's nothing braver. There's literally, I've never seen anyone, when it's time to go explore new planets, y'all send white women. Cause bruh, I had never seen, I've been in some sketchy neighborhoods and it never fails. The first thing you see is a white woman running, jogging with her headphones in. I'm not like, and the first thing is like, she must not know where she's at. Oh, she know. She pioneering that land, boy.
She's in America. So
she's a regular old Christopher Columbus ass.
And first off, the brothers who she would typically think would mess with her, she already know niggas ain't messing with me.
or she already got, you know.
Trying to be funny, but like,
bro,
she know that. And plus the brothers are like, oh, there goes a white girl. We
Stay away. Either that, or she already found her connect, right? She done found her new plug in the new neighborhood. She done paid her dues, her taxes to get in. She probably has more ability to navigate black neighborhoods than some of these Democratic politicians.
And she's fast. Hey, this little white girl in the hood when she's jogging, all of a sudden that pace picks up a little bit around certain streets.
I felt like, I was like, man, is this how the racists feel? Is this what it feels like to have a moment of, wait, what neighborhood you in? Like, I'm like, hold on. I'm like, she is a good 15 miles outside of her natural habitat in Atlanta. So anyway, let me stop before I get myself canceled this morning. What else y'all watching? Like in terms of the race itself, John Ossoff has scared David Perdue permanently. That dude don't want to debate, not even in this special election. And I guess it's tied back to the fact that John Ossoff had a pretty good moment.
What I'm watching is, I think, and just talking to my people around, especially in some of the areas in South Georgia that I've been organizing. What I'm watching is, I don't care how much money comes to this state. I don't care. And if we look at the kind of race that Maya Dillard Smith ran, right, where she was outraised 20-1 and still got 10% of the vote.
Yep.
For a statewide election. What I'm watching is where people decide to put their money in and how they decide to actually spend it and how they actually decide to utilize it. And the reason why I say that is because when I talk to Mayor Rufus Davis and just folks who've won campaigns in really small towns in South Georgia, some of their concerns are, what are these people saying to us? When are we getting a commercial? When are we getting canvassers? And I'm worried that big time establishment folks, because they saw a win without them, think that they might be able to come in and guarantee it. When you gotta have a particular type of nuance to win an election state, you gotta have a scientific approach to winning this state, and it has to be scientifically black, something that 90% of consultants in America have never done before. Right, like it has to be a science to not turning off black voters. It has to be a science to not, there is a science to it. You can't just throw a fish fry and expect brothers to just show up and be like, "You got my vote, boss." No, it doesn't work like that, right?
The Jim Clyburn, that works for him and his crew. Throw a little potluck together, bring them niggas over, and don't offer them nothing else, and they be like, "Oh, we'll help you win South Carolina, boss."
Yeah, so that's just the only thing I'm watching. I'm just watching how out of town interests interact with South Georgia and the Bible Belt.
Any direct indication so far? Like you haven't been able to make a call on it?
I talked to a South Georgia mayor, and he said right now, so far so good. He's been contacted by both campaigns for the first time, which was interesting. Like the first time they contacted him was last week, and he was like, and I'm gonna see if I can try to get him on too, so he can talk about it also, because he's he's been elected. He's won some tough races. Camilla. Georgia.
Oh yeah. Good city, good mayor.
Yeah.
No,
in between here in Tallahassee, you got to go through Camilla to get to Tallahassee from Atlanta.
Yeah.
So.
No, and you know what? Like Camilla they could have made an impact on this race. So for them to not have contacted the mayor at all, like until now, like.
Bro. He contacted them, but for them to have a plan. And the reason why I use Camilla is Camilla's got an interesting demographic. Camilla's demographics is really extremely close to what the state of Georgia demographics are, right? And also the race. I mean, if we look at Mayor Rufus Davis's race, he won that race by a couple of votes, and the White City Council decided to hide his keys from him, so he couldn't get into the city hall. I don't know if you guys remember that, but he wasn't even allowed to govern once he won that election. So, that is just like a little microcosm of Georgia, in my opinion.
Yeah, I found out about Camilla, Georgia, because of the incident with the mayor, and I forgot exactly what that case was. Something happened with the mayor over there having to fight back against white supremacy in his own way, and they didn't like it in the city. So that's when I found out about it. And then digging it up, there was the Camilla Massacre. You guys ever heard of the Camilla Massacre from like 18?
Oh, yeah.
Man, I'd never heard of it until like 2 years ago.
September 19th.
Yeah, well, there it is, September 19th, where they gunned down, was it hundreds of black folks who were not headed to march, but headed to vote, but they were coming back from the courthouse, and it was just an all-out massacre, one of those that you don't really hear about in the news or in history even. the news.
And that was, I mean, it was political too, right? This was about the original 33 black folk that were elected to the assembly, right? That's what the shooting was about. So, like, right after slavery ended, black folk were getting elected in the South, and white people were getting upset about it. So they gunned them down around that. So that's around election results right there. So like
that's yeah.
I mean, it's Camilla's interesting to me because my baby sister, that's her name. We say Camilla because we country, and her birthday is that day as well. So that's
how you supposed. That's how you supposed to say it, Mondale.
I mean, Camilla with the Y instead of Camilla. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I mean, it's because the double L in Spanish make the Y sound. But it's also like where I'm from, like like I'm from a small ass town, just like that. Excuse my language, just like that. And I mean, the history of it just sound like where the stories my mom used to tell me, and then also some of the stuff like of course what happened with the mayor. But beyond that, it's just other types of aggression when black people are the majority in a city. You know what I'm saying? So. In the South, when white people try to, it's trying to, exert themselves because they are not the majority of the city. I think, black people are a super majority in Camilla, and it reminds me of like South Carolina's like slave appetite, like when they just kept importing black people, and to the point where they were making white people super nervous in the state, but they just kept going with it, and that's the reason Americans' government. This is some history stuff, but America's government, like military, just kept growing because of South Carolina's appetite to import black bodies, even though white people were super afraid. And that's what Camilla, Georgia reminds me of on a regular basis.
Think about all the things that are necessary to keep that, maintain power over that population, right? And to maintain fear so that people to make sure that population never gets the benefit of being in the majority, right? Like you could have, and I mean, look at how that applies to the election right now. The last 7 elections, Republicans did not win the majority of the vote, right? But they managed to get power multiple times during that same period. And it's because we have created a system here that's designed to reduce the power of the majority. And the reason that system is there in the first place was to protect slave owners. Ooh. Did I lose you? Okay, I thought I dropped my keyboard.
No,
I dropped my keyboard. I thought that was the end of the. I thought I ended the stream just that quick.
Thanks. Clickbaity out.
Exactly right. So anyway, we got all kinds of stuff that's happening in the backdrops. Georgia races, we are putting an emphasis on that, just because that's where. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I don't know if we're trying to leave the topic, but Georgia races are extremely important, man. I mean, what's, and I'm just gonna be honest, you know what I'm saying? Stacey Abrams didn't win Georgia alone, you know what I'm saying? She definitely had a role in it. But there's too many organizations down here doing crazy good work, important work for us to say that. And when we do that, we give white donors the go ahead to support one organization. So like supporting Stacey Abrams' effort only and the 2 campaigns is not going to turn Georgia blue. It's not going to save the Senate. There's a lot of organizations that are doing work, been doing work, and that now there are even more that are claiming that they had a role in this. That's to be expected. So I mean, there's some toxic stuff going on around this race, around Georgia right now, and folk don't have history in this state. So I'm extremely nervous about the outcome and how they're going to play Georgia if the outcome isn't what they're looking for, meaning they lose these 2 Senate seats. And they're never going to say that, we should have gave 60, 70 million to Ossoff or 50 or 40 million to Warnock. We should have invested that money in grassroots organizations that are in charge of efforts and mission statements to turn out black voters in a way that mimics what happens in Georgia, probably even because what people are not telling you the truth about is normally Georgia's runoffs are 3 weeks, right? We're running. We have an 8-week period for the first time to do a runoff, and also if you think about it, bro,
anyway, how did that come about?
That's the Georgia laws. Like they have a 2-month time period for every runoff after the.
Oh, you mean okay? So you're saying in other states it'll be quick as 3 weeks, but here it's
the state law. Go ahead.
In Georgia, they changed it. No, in Georgia, normally there's 3 weeks for runoffs. This is the first
Okay.
time we've had 8 weeks. So that's kind of dope. But here's what people aren't telling the truth about. Normally, campaigns are only 8 weeks long. Even if they've been running for years, people don't really get serious about campaigns. The traditional campaigns don't normally get serious about campaigns after Labor Day. You know what I say? People don't pay attention to politics after Labor Day. So really, we have the opportunity right now for a runoff to almost have as much turnout. I'm thinking we're going to have 50, 60% of the electorate participate. That's almost a traditional presidential election. If this thing is done right, we already see them trying to do stuff like Florida already trying to give it where each individual county has the ability to change what their rules are as it pertains to voting, when people can vote. Right now, we have one Saturday to vote, which is disgusting in itself. When there's the next Saturday is the Saturday of Christmas, as opposed to all the 3 or 4 other Saturdays that we could have to vote. So I mean,
how close?
Of course, they're gonna do what they do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the calendar. So they got us voting on the Saturday after Christmas. That's the only
That's the only Saturday voting day. That's the only Saturday voting day. They're tricky. We know that. Yeah, we know that. The thing though is, I think they are missing they being the political structure on both sides. The Republicans, because they think they can decrease participation by practicing in voter suppression. And what we've seen was when you tell people you're trying to steal their vote, and you don't have to say I'm stealing your vote or I'm blocking your vote. You can say you can only vote on Saturday after Christmas, and people know what that means. It fires on them. We've seen increased participation because you're trying to stop people vote to the point where people will stand in line for 11 hours, bro.
Just to prove
vote,
the
just to
difference.
show you So I'm super excited about the black people's energy. I'm nervous about what white people's tactics are.
Yeah, how many times do y'all think we're gonna see Joe Biden and Kamala come down here? You think? I guess the real question is, do you feel like they are a net positive add in terms of this race? Are they an asset for this runoff race? Are they a liability for this runoff race?
I mean, if they come down here talking about they say they're gonna end cash bail, they're gonna decriminalize marijuana and also expunge records. They come down there with that message, they cool. But they come down here with that shit Bernie Sanders was talking about. Excuse my language. Talking about they ain't for defunding the police. They ain't helping us at all.
What you think, Marcus?
I mean, listen, it's a good time. It's a good time for them to galvanize everybody's going to be here, man. People who never cared about Georgia their whole life is going to be here a lot of times, right? Like I'm seeing friends and organizers who I told, hey, listen, you might want to pay attention to Georgia years ago. I'm seeing donors that as chief of staff at NGP, I've seen donors that literally ignored grant proposals that we had now sitting in certain people's offices, right? Like I mean, you know what I mean? Like. And calling me up, hey, let's go to lunch. I don't have to eat. I don't have to pay for lunch anymore. I don't have to pay for lunch anymore. Thank you, America, for making this Georgia race so important because I don't have to pay for lunch anymore. But so of course they're going to be down here, and it's not only just getting victories; it's making sure that the credit that is received for getting victories. Yeah. But I mean, right, like so. You got to understand something. If grassroots people get ID'd as the, and I'm talking about black grassroots people who understand what BLM protests are and stuff like that. If they get the victory, right? If these organizations get the victory that aren't necessarily the main, 3 organizations here, if they get the victory, including, matter of fact, let me change that, including New Georgia Project, if they get the victory, right? Then you get to have the narrative switches from, neoliberal, moderate, just get along to like, we're going to actually have to do something, right? Because I'm going to tell you something. Moderates, even though Ossoff, and I say Warnock is less of a moderate than Ossoff is. Ossoff is a blatant, blind moderate.
Empty suit moderate.
Yeah, but Warnock has a lot more substance, I think. But if the victory gets to be had by the people of Georgia, that means that there's going to be a necessity for accountability, and y'all just can't do what you want to do. Because I got to tell you something. As deep as the bench is in Georgia, if Ossoff gets to Washington and doesn't do things for black people in the state of Georgia,
he got to paint in 6 years.
He's going to. there's going to be at least 7 people who come after him who are black and all can raise money.
Right. He's not entering into a safe seat, not just because it's Georgia and there's a lot of Republicans and we just will be wrestling this away from a Republican for the first time in since who was that last Republican? Democrat. Anyway, my history fails me.
Clinton.
That's not the threat. The real threat for somebody like John Ossoff is that in 6 years, anybody who can convince the people that there's a list of people in Atlanta right now, in Georgia, in Savannah, in Columbus, they could just step up and say, yeah, I'm going to do better by Georgia than this kid. So it ain't the Republican threat. You're right, Marcus. John Ossoff is going to be standing a real major challenge in 6 years. I don't care how good he does.
And what could possibly happen? First, man, I don't wish the man no harm, no bad luck. I want him to go up there and do good. I want him to win. I want him to go up there and represent the people. But I don't want him to represent certain people. I don't want him to represent, as Mondale says, that dying out demographic of black voters that is not going to be Georgia within the next 3 years of his first term. Right. I don't want him to go up there and represent that. He needs to represent the future right now. And the reason why he needs to do it is because, I mean, folks are going to come after him, man. And more importantly, like, folks are going to surround themselves and the party apparatus, because when you're a senator in any state, right? This is really big with Bill Nelson. This is big with Kyrsten Sinema in Arizona right now. You become the power structure, the democratic power structure of the state.
Yep.
And the easiest way for it to be divided is it goes back to, because Georgia had a very, very, very hard time with blue dog Democrats for years in this state. And I'm talking about the guys who missed the days of the Clinton administration, who got Clinton elected, who held on to power in the state for years, who really didn't do anything about black poverty in the Black Belt, who actually created more ways for poverty to increase by not diverting resources from out of Metro Atlanta, out of the airport, into other places in the state, not bringing funding back down, as Corrine Brown in Florida put it, not bringing home the bacon, right? Like that they did that for a very long time. And if Georgia is not a state that can go back to those type of politics of do nothing, have a special clique, a golf club of white consultants and important black people, and no resources actually change this state. And I can see that happening with the Ossoff administration. Yes, they will vote Democratic nationally, and that's cute for everybody else, right? That's cute for people outside of the state of Georgia.
You know how somebody going to easily beat Ossoff in 6 years? Because they're going to be here in the state actually doing work on behalf of the entire state over the next 6 years. And you're not going to hear from Ossoff again. But we want him to win in January. So, govern yourselves accordingly, I guess. Hey, is it okay for us to talk about the Pope being thirsty on Maine?
Wait. I said I would do this. You got to bring up the song, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Trap Squad. We haven't addressed y'all today. Good morning, Trap Squad. First, I'm happy. I'm going to say this right here. Me and Mondale sort of popped this idea off, and we had a couple of partners with it, but then we finally finalized the Clickbaity show with our brother Ben, and we've been on his channel since that moment. And Ben obviously has love for us, and we obviously have love for all of our people watching. So hashtag Trap Squad, we love you, and we love when you do stuff like what you did this weekend. This weekend we got a shout out. We got a very special thing that happened to us this weekend. So somebody went on our show. Somebody went on our channel and downloaded our conversation and made a track out of it.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that I get the brother's name right. The Riddler on Twitter, and that's at the Riddler on Twitter. I want to give him a shout out for this track that Ben. You got it loaded up?
Yeah, I got it loaded up. I'm about to play it now.
Yeah. So for this track that was made for our show. So for the first time on our show, the I guess defund the police national anthem
Here we go. Let's
by
listen
the
to
Red
it.
Lord.
Here we go.
So you put these resources in the black community, you automatically reduce crime, and therefore you're putting the police out of business.
Got
But
me sound
number
like a
two,
chipmunk.
it's just a disposition. Money is power in our system, and the police patrol powerless people. Punk ass pig police patrol powerless. Punk ass pig police patrol powerless. Punk ass pig police patrol powerless people. Period. Punk ass.
That's beautiful. Fuck ass police protect powerful people.
Y'all tweet that shit out. Police
PPP.
patrol
PPP.
powerless people. Wow, that's a hell of a lyric. Come on. Too many studies from Harvard, from Princeton, from Yale that shows that crime is an economic phenomenon. Where you have poverty, you have increased crime. Where you don't have poverty, you have a far less occurrence of crime. Punk ass pig police patrol powerless. Punk ass pig police patrol powerless. Punk ass pig police patrol powerless people. Period.
That's beautiful.
That's dope, man. That's love. Shout out to Riddler Villain on what's that? What is SoundCloud? Yeah, SoundCloud. That was dope.
At the Riddler on Twitter. Make sure y'all follow him. How many of the Trap Squad remember that episode? How many?
So we give it how many squirrels did we get this, ladies and gentlemen? Do we give it 3 squirrels up? 3 acorns, 3 squirrels. Put in the chat room. Dimitri said he's booty clapping right now. Early in the morning. It's too early in the morning for that, Cleotis. Too early in the morning. All right. I liked it. It was dope. So shout out to the Trap Squad for bringing that together. And we got 3 chicks.
So we got a lot of as Trap Squad knows, there's a lot of aspects of culture that gets kind of melded into this show.
Yeah.
And some of these analogies you might not hear before because black people stuff is not a part of mainstream media for real. Right. So we try to bring up things all the time. And I with that being said, because I wanted to talk about this on air and I wanted to actually ask Mondale and Ben a question because we'll get back to politics in a second. But I saw this on Twitter I saw this on Facebook last night from a friend of mine out of Tallahassee. And he asked the question. I want to repeat the question to you.
All right.
Guys, when it comes down to music in general.
Oh boy.
What are your top 3 perfect albums?
Jesus Christ, that's tough, man. Music in general.
I'm not even gonna say hip hop. I'm just gonna say music in general.
All right. So the first one that comes to mind to me is Earth, Wind, and Fire live in Japan. And they got a whole bunch of live in Japan, but I think this one is called Plugged In and Unplugged or some. I can't remember the exact name, but it from beginning to end makes you feel like you're at a live Earth, Wind, and Fire concert, like geeked up on, just having like a party. So that's the first one that comes to mind. The second one that obviously comes to mind, Off the Wall, Michael Jackson, and then the third one. Off the top of my head, so many genres, bro. That's hard. I have to come back to the third one. I'll yield.
Mondale?
Donny Hathaway, Never My Love, the anthology, The Very Best of Otis Redding, and Janis Joplin, Greatest Hit.
Okay. So mine are Pink Floyd, The Wall, Songs in the Key of Life, Stevie Wonder, and man, I'm gonna add an alternate. I said 3, but man, Aquemini and Lauryn Hill, the Emancipation of Lauryn Hill. Those are my 3/4 right there. And the reason why I bring this up is because I'm starting to realize that albums are no longer made anymore.
Oh yeah, no, that's a wrap. That period is is over when people aren't buying albums anymore. People ain't buying singles. We
Right.
streaming singles.
I said emancipation. I meant miseducation, by the way, of Lauryn Hill. The reason why I bring that up is because the story. First, I think America has the attention deficit disorder at this point. Like all of us, every single human being in America has ADD. Right? It's just about how we deal with it. But the stories that are made from albums, if you think about the Love Below album itself, right? If you think about and I brought up The Wall for a reason. Like if you think about some of these albums, they were actually telling whole stories and they were literal stories. And now it's just like 5 beats, guest track, talk about your mama and how you gonna have sex with your girlfriend, and then we're out. Do some drugs. Let's call it a day.
Pop some bottles somewhere in between there, you know, on a yacht somewhere for for the gram, and then you got your whole album.
And shout out to the Chronic, man. But I'm just
Chronic.
passing, the Chronic, man.
Yeah.
We forgot about the Chronic. Chronic was a
Dog, you take me back. I can't possibly. You got to do it in genres, right? Because when you say the Chronic, it takes me back to Snoop's Doggy Style album, man. That thing back when that thing dropped, man, that thing was slick from beginning to end.
what was To Pimp a Butterfly, man? To Pimp a Butterfly was, I think, was the last great album. Maybe J. Cole had one in there, but The Pimp a Butterfly was a beautiful album.
Dog world. Remember that? Dog's World. It's a doggy dogs. Man, that Snoop album. That first one came out with what was it? The Dog Pound. Man, that's some of the smoothest shit in music.
Yeah. So we'll get back to music. It's just I know we got to break the monotony of our doom and gloom and go into some of the soulful tunes. So if you are a person who has never heard of any of those songs or any of those albums that we brought up, please go to your little music store and download those songs and download those albums. You know what I mean? Dookie Green Day was
literally any album that we listed this morning. Just now, if you have never heard it, stop what you're doing and go hear it. Go hear it and you'll understand. Just sit there and let that thing. See, people don't do like I do now, man. Like I let music, I just put it on repeat. I just leave that thing on repeat because there's always something hidden in the music that you didn't hear before. And that way you could really like just milk an album. We don't do that anymore, man. We just keep playing playlists. We don't even put our own playlist together no more. Y'all remember sitting by the radio with the tape deck waiting for your song to come on so you could record that and put it on your mixtape?
That's right. Hold on.
Ben.
What up?
Ben. You better start projecting, bro. I got like 27 playlists right now I'm listening to that I create on Apple Music. You better start projecting.
Bro, no, I got my. Look, I had to go in.
Your playlist for you.
My playlist right here, bro. My playlist. I create my own playlist. I'm still a whole nerd.
Bro, I had to change the title of on Spotify. You got to be careful what you name your playlist because sometimes them things are public facing, and I had to change one of my playlists from what I call it in my house to ain't none of y'all damn business. I'm like, because I looked up, somebody said, Ben, you got that sex playlist playing a whole lot, don't you? I'm like, wait a minute. You got to be, listen, if y'all don't know, your playlist from Spotify, unless you make them private, I didn't know how to make it private then, but I figured it out. So anyway, that said, I make some playlists, but.
Can we tell our audience, would y'all do me a favor and calm down and listen to some jazz? Like, listen to some John Coltrane, man. Baby. Like, put on some Miles Davis, man.
Miles
you know
Davis.
What I mean? Play a little Take 5, man. Like you know what I'm talking about? Like, slow down a little bit, man. Y'all be getting too amped up and sexed up. Y'all be getting too sexed up off the music, the rap. The
hibbity hobbity.
The hibbity hobbity.
Herbie Hancock, a lot of recommendations come in just that quick, man. There's Charlie Parker, yes. Like you guys are nailing it. All right. So I asked before, and I'm gonna ask again: is it okay to talk about the Pope being thirsty on Maine on his Instagram. He got caught liking something. Yeah, is that out of bounds? Can we talk about
No, I don't mind. I mean, he a man, ain't he?
the Pope? I'm wondering if I should show it. Hang on a second. Where did I find it? So the Pope allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, because I haven't been able to confirm it yet, but that this is actually real, but it's got so many hundreds of thousands of interactions.
It's real.
The post got
It's real, Ben.
It's real. All right, we're gonna go underneath that. The Pope got caught liking some porn.
IG model.
And yeah, an Instagram model. Now I'm gonna pull it up and share it, picture and all, because it's all right. It's safe for work kind of content. But it definitely shows that the Pope has a certain taste, a certain style. Before I pull it up, what do y'all think about the highest of all prelates like a support? Do you think it was him? Do you think it was the young person who runs his account?
I hope it was him.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if it. Well, first of all, it's not porn. It's on Instagram.
It's on Instagram, right?
So the Pope is just supporting somebody's business model, and I think that's wonderful that the Pope is all about diversifying business. He is the Pope that said people can get married, right? Like people in the cloth. So I'm listen. I'm with it. I don't like those type of Instagram posts because
Good to go, Mark.
I just like my fingers, but you know.
There you go. Let me put
Pope,
it up
you know,
on the
the Pope-
screen. This is what
The Pope's a single man.
he is a single man. This is what the Pope got caught looking at. You can see down here at the bottom by Francis U.S. And there he is, Francis U.S. So the Pope got caught thirsty on Maine. I'm thinking it's probably one of his. It ain't the. I mean, I would have liked for it to be the Pope. It don't matter to me, but it's probably one of his altar boys
Interns.
who are working interns. Thank you. Whatever the positions are called at this point. I want to see what the audience has to say. Do you think it's the Pope or his intern? Number one, and then two, do you hope it was the Pope versus the? I'm hoping it was the Pope. Let's see what everybody else is saying. Could be him. Okay, just a bunch of people in our comment section being thirsty. Okay, guys. We just want to talk about it without y'all actually getting thirsty now. Like, slow down just a little bit. The pictures on the internet, you can catch it after service is over. He said, Keith Mack said, no one is safe from the thirst trap. Nerdy Gamer said, the Pope has blessed that booty. Y'all. Katie McD said, it's probably the intern. Technological 21 said he's excommunicated.
Here's the thing.
Black Widow.
The reason I think it's the Pope, because if it was one of those interns, they would have unliked it immediately. The Pope probably didn't know how to unlike it. You know, he probably was scrolling, liked it, and didn't know how to fix it. So that's why I believe it was him.
You're right.
I'm just saying, I truly believe, because I'd have made a mistake and liked something, like, oh, let me unlike that immediately, and so the young folk know how to do that. The Pope was like, oh boy, here we go. I did not do that.
How'd he do it, bro? He was like, oh
God.
Oh
boy, I didn't. Oh God.
Oh, forgive me, Father, for I have seen. Who does he go confess to, bro? Who does the Pope go to for confession?
He was on both sides of the cage.
Right. He was short of just cat, bro. He was like, am I asking for forgiveness or am I doing the forgiving? I don't know. Bro. Who forgives the Pope? Who does he say, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 3 days since I was thirsty on Maine. Like, oh man, let's see what everybody.
They better keep the Pope off Instagram. I'm telling you.
Yogi Bear said he didn't know what to do with that. Let's see. Y'all are wilding in the chat room. Let's see. Pope's supposed to transcend his flesh. Well, I mean, he transcended for as long as he could. I'm okay with it. Like, why they even put themselves through that? That's, to me, is like, that's just that is a no. I like a vow of celibacy for what? Why? Who does that help? That don't help nobody. 30 Hail Marys. Jill said 30 Hail Marys.
I kind of.
All right, Marcus is back on deck.
I kind of want to go to the Vatican now and hang out with the Pope. It was really good.
Pope don't look like he know how to party, man. I just, I don't know the full range of his proclivities. So let me stay in my lane here in the United States. Let's see.
Yeah.
The Pope forgives
somebody
himself.
Somebody said the Pope was trying to enlarge that thing. I bet that's what happened. He was trying to enlarge that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, just take a close.
He didn't know Instagram don't let you do that, Pope.
thought he was on Facebook.
He
weren't on Facebook. He thought he was on Twitter. He could just zoom. Nope, there you go. That's a wrap.
I made a mistake.
All right, man. What else y'all watching, man? The Pope. I didn't know if we can get away with that.
In the day and age where Donald Trump is the president of the United States, I think the Pope can like whatever he wants.
Yeah, I agree. I think the world is better if he likes what if they like whatever is a consenting adult that they want, right? That's the caveat we got.
Checking out the uniforms. He was checking out the uniform because clearly she had on a Catholic school uniform. So the Pope was trying to see if it was regulation. Trying to make sure it's regulations. That's all.
Standard issue.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Consenting adults. Endorify Pariah agrees. All right, the respectability. Luke King said the respectability politics rules are out. That's what you talk about, Marcus. This is if we living in Donald Trump's world now. So that said, all rules are off. All bets are off.
But that leads to a bigger conversation that we don't have to get into right now. But it leads to a much bigger conversation, which is, everybody can. The whole trap squad, Squirrel Gang can run for office whenever they want to.
Yep. I don't care what's in your past.
I don't care what's in your past. I don't care if you're not cool with if you're not cool with Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi, because if you watch this show, they're gonna hate if you run for office, by the way. So it doesn't matter. Run for office, right? If you create a plan and create a budget and stick to it and raise money, run for office and run wherever you are in America.
Yeah.
This is how we increase the squad, right? This is how we increase progressives in the country. Y'all got to run first and then ask questions last, right? Because what used to happen, oh yeah, you did some coke in high school and got busted. Oh, you had a DUI. But guess what? You don't owe a foreign country billions of dollars.
Come on, man.
You can run off.
You wouldn't sit back and watch 250,000 Americans die of a pandemic, of something that could have been avoided. 270. God damn it. 270,000. You would have done a better job than Donald Trump. I don't care. I don't care what your past profession was. I don't care if your profession was fill in the blank. You would have done a better job than Donald Trump.
Yeah, I thought. I'm glad we went this way. I thought we were gonna, Ben, when you were talking about the respectability politics being gone, and then Marcus said we had to have a larger conversation. I thought he was gonna talk about the whack ASS stuff that Bernie Sanders pulled. So, but I mean, we definitely should have that conversation too. So all our white progressives can go ahead come at us and say we're not progressive anymore for attacking their pope. But honestly, I think wait.
Oh, my God.
We didn't attack him. We said we want to go party with him. We got the utmost respect for him.
Who's the white progressive pope?
No, Bernie Sanders is the white progressive pope, and we're about to go in on him.
I thought you were talking about my man. I thought you were talking about my man Francis. Like, we support him in his efforts.
No, listen, Francois the homie. All
right, go ahead. You got it. Man.
No, but what I'm saying is, I'm. You're right. I think everybody should run for office anyway, and I think we have something to learn from people who are closest to the pain. So I think if we're trying to address the real problems of the inhumane aspects of the criminal justice system, we need people who've been inside of there, who can speak to it. If it's a rehabilitation center as they purport it, then why wouldn't we want somebody that's been in there, experienced and rehabilitated from it to talk about it? I'm ready to have a congressperson with a felony conviction. I'm ready to have a senator who's been in handcuffs and handcuffs too tight by the cops. I'm ready for those. I'm ready for those folk to run for office. We need those folk because they probably can spot the crooks that are in DC that need to be washed out anyway. So I'm with it.
I mean, I ran for office before. I didn't win. And pretty much the reason why I didn't win is because I ran in a very moderate white area as a black man, a moderate Democratic area as a black man. I was saying stuff like defund the police and, Black Lives Matter. And I remember the pearl clutching that happened around my race. So what I would actually call people like Mondale and some of my friend consultants, right? Like my homie consultants, and nobody ever said, no, you need to loosen it up. You need to soften it up. You need to go. No, they were just like, no, keep going. Keep going. And the irony is many people from that same district, since the uprisings of this summer, were like, bro, if you had ran this year, you would have blew them out of the water, right? And it's okay being ahead of your time. Listen, I want the hit piece on me saying, Marcus Farrell supports defunding the schools. I mean, defunding the police officers. Yeah, that's right.
Got to get that one. We got to fix that one real quick.
Marcus Farrell, smoke weed on the beach. Marcus Farrell likes cigars on the weekend. Yes. I mean, yes. You know why? Because I'm
Benjamin
human.
Dixon has hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. Yeah.
That's right.
that's You got me red-handed, folks.
Marcus Farrell has unpaid parking tickets. And I'm never coming back to that city again.
We gonna fly over that bitch. We ain't driving through, huh? Oh man.
Yeah, so
Bernie, say something
Mondale, you want to tee this up, bro? Mondale, you want to tee this up?
No, I just want to talk about, if I ran for office, I'm like, Mondale has been arrested more than 57 times. And some of those motherfuckers, and some of those times were violent. And some of them were violent. Meaning, if you had a debate and you say some slick shit, he might punch you.
This is a true story, folks. This is actually who this dude is. So if you think that this is a sketch, it's not. This is who this man really is. No. He will fight your ass.
50 Cent said, "I would hate to be locked up for killing one of my fans. So if you see me, then you see me. Holla G unit."
Yeah,
all right.
wow.
So no, Bernie Sanders has forgot what it means to be a progressive, as he is now quoting the ideas of a progressive or what progressive policy means, only what people that are running for office are saying, apparently. Because Bernie Sanders, with all his progressive bona fides, came out and said, nobody I know that's running for office is talking about defunding police. Well, Mr. Bernie Sanders, progressive policies and politics are not about what politicians are saying.
Did
if that
anybody
was
else
the case,
hear you?
we'd probably still be enslaved.
Did anybody else hear Bernie Sanders impersonation just then? Because I heard a little bit of Brooklyn on that accident. Just go ahead, keep going, my deal. But it just sounded like you got one, didn't you?
I've seen somebody do an amazing Bernie Sanders, so I don't try it. But sometimes it slips out, like the angry white guy trying to intimidate him. But anyway, yeah, Marcus, talk about your old boss.
do that man like that.
I thought we were working on stuff there, Mondale. I thought we were friends. Like I mean, bro, like I'm talking about. I'm just sitting over here innocent.
Tell us about your ex.
He's going all up in the resume.
Marcus, you see how I tied you to the white man when you
real quick.
Get your white person.
Especially, I'm gonna get my white person. First off, listen, I want to say something like this right here. We brought the heat for Clyburn. We'll bring the heat for Bernie.
Yeah.
And we'll keep the same exact energy, right? Because there's no permanent friends and enemies. It's just permanent interest, right? And clickbaity political thirst trap can almost guarantee you that we believe in defunding the police, if not abolishing the motherfuckers. But defunding the police is definitely a start. You know why? Because we're in the streets, right? And as my dear sister, I got to think of her name. She's going to kill me. But she said this on Twitter last night. Tracy. As Tracy Corder said last night on Twitter, most of the people who are saying defund the police don't give a damn what a elected official or a person running for office has to say.
Right.
We don't care about that. We don't care if y'all say it's bad for business, and we sure don't care if it's going to win or lose Democratic seats. And the reason why is because winning or losing Democratic seats does not affect whether black people live or die. Right? So I'll say this to Bernie Sanders, right? The same way I said it about reparations. The same way I said it on the campaign, I say this to Senator Sanders, and this is not necessarily a direct attack at him. It's just that when I told you to support reparations, you told me why you wouldn't do it. And then eventually you knew that you would do it. I've been ahead of the curve. I always try to lead you down the right direction when it came down to certain things. When you have conversations with a certain type of black folk that you're surrounded by right now, I'm not saying that it's they're intimate black folks. I'm talking about the black folks that are in the Senate and in Congress and that are actually not necessarily bringing you. I'm talking about the consultant class of black folks that you might hear talking. They haven't been to a single protest. And you know what's funny? For a man who has pictures of him locked up next to a black woman while cops were almost beating they behind in a 60s protest, for you to lose that ethos about what they were saying on the streets, about going against the powers that be, about saying the right thing no matter who in Congress and who in the Senate agreed or disagreed with you, you're supposed to be the man that says defund the police.
Right.
You're supposed to be the guy that says it. Right? We've normalized police beatings and white supremacy and spent 34, 40 years supporting getting the police departments have been getting free advertisement for the past 40 years. They actually have shows called Law and Order. and all these other shows that were created in America to simply justify policing in America, and all the while the bad guy in most of these shows have been black people, especially black men. Now, when I say that right there, we can't even imagine a different way of public safety without saying the words cops. That's not bold. That's not progressive. It's not progressive. It's not a progressive way of thinking. If the only way that we can think is we have to center police officers and how officer friendly, who is only friendly in your neighborhoods and not friendly in our neighborhoods. We can't think of a different way to look at safety in neighborhoods across the nation. So, Senator Sanders, I will say this to you directly. I know you won't ever address me. And you know, I still got love for you. But when you make statements like none of my friends and we need to rename it, no, we don't need to rename it because we came up with it out of oppression, out of the gutter, out of the streets, out of the slums, out of pain and desperation, out of so many black lives that have been lost by the hands of police officers. That's what we want to call it. It's not what James Clyburn wants to call it. It's not what your favorite consultant wants to call it. It's what the streets want to. If you have a problem with that, then you need to figure out something else to do and keep that term out of your mouth so it won't hurt the work that we're doing. Thank you.
All right.
Bernie Sanders. People, y'all white people kept saying black people voting against their own interests, and Bernie Sanders just proved me right once again. We didn't vote against our own interests. We voted against an old white man who was running for office who had spent no money and no time in the South. And now y'all see him acting just like the rest of them. So miss me with what else you got going on. Bernie Sanders just proved that he too has a lot of growing to do as it pertains to black struggle.
Oh yeah. Oh, all day. But he still was the best pick out of the whole litter. So.
Oh yeah. Listen, what I just said about Bernie doesn't make. Okay, go ahead.
For me, it's like you are the best pick when you believe in investing in black voters, because that means you're centering their needs and you're saying what they want to hear. Bernie Sanders think class. If you address the class issue in this country, you address everything going on in black communities. I differ from that thinking.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if Bernie Sanders is the best. I think Elizabeth Warren to me it was the best pick. But that's just a matter of.
And I will ride with Mondale and say I think the best pick was Julian Castro. That was my guy. So it was to me it was Julian and then Bernie and Elizabeth Todd. And we can say whatever we want to say. I've always supported Elizabeth Warren. I think she would have been a great president. I've always supported Bernie. I think that his eyes he brought up issues that would have never been brought up about income inequality in America. He brought them up first, right? But Julian was just like, honestly, and people call him what they say Julian is a moderate because of his work with the administration and some of the decisions that he made in Texas. But to be quite honest with you, I was a very, very, very big fan of Julian because if you listen to what he was saying during the primary, he was talking to black and brown people and centering that. And I've never seen a candidate center black and brown people as much as he did.
Oh, okay. Hey, man, like to each his own, because ain't nobody's opinion. There's no right answer there. The only wrong, funny, right. the only wrong answer was the one we ended up with. But anyway, I'll leave that alone. Amy Klobuchar would have been the wrong answer too. Any number of the people in there were bad. Pete Buttigieg, Bloomberg was a bad choice. Yeah, like there's a couple of really bad choices. I would say this: we would have been in a better off position as a country with any of the choices we listed. If you Warren, definitely, Sanders, definitely, Castro, definitely, we've been better off than with the guy that we got stuck with. So he's president now. We got no reason to not say the truth. We got stuck with the worst of the litter. Second to probably Bloomberg, but other than that, let's see where we at. Take a 30-second commercial break here. Gentlemen, tell everybody where they can find you at and what you got going on.
Man, I'm just out here trying to literally show people how black men turn out, prevent voting rigor mortis from setting in, and people can follow me at Mondale Robinson on all social media platforms or Black Male Voters Project.
That's nice. That's love. Marcus.
We got 989 people watching us on YouTube, and we got 58 people watching us on Facebook. I'd like for you guys to stop what you're doing right now and just hit that like button if you can. That'll help us out a lot. You could just Google Marcus Farrell. You pretty much find me on anything.
That's it. And I am Benjamin Dixon at Benjamin P. Dixon. We're gonna take a quick station identification break and play this cut from your boy.
And therefore you're putting the police out of business.
Who?
But number two, it's just a disposition.
Ridlord.
Money is power in our system. And the police patrol powerless people.
Punk ass pig police patrol powerless. Punk ass pig police patrol powerless. Punk ass pig police patrol powerless. People. Period. Punk ass.
That's beautiful. Punk ass police protect powerful people.
Y'all tweet that shit out. Police
PPP.
patrol powerless people. Wow, that's a hell of a lyric. Come on. Too many studies from Harvard, from Princeton, from Yale that shows that crime is an economic phenomenon. Where you have poverty, you have increased crime. Where you don't have poverty, you have a far less occurrence of crime. Punk ass pig police patrol powerless. Punk ass pig police patrol powerless. Punk ass pig police patrol powerless. People. Period.
That's beautiful.
Bruh, I like that cut, man. I'm feeling that. All right, folks, welcome back. We just took a little pause for the cause for your station identification. Of course, on this channel, we support defunding the police at best. Abolish the police if you catch us on the right day. All right, what else are we watching in the news, man? There's so much happening today. We already went over the president refusing to concede. We've already gone over the races here in Georgia. We've also gone over the issue with Bernie Sanders saying he's not going to defund the police. There's a whole lot more happening before we get to actual news. What y'all watching in like the rest of the world?
Man, I saw. How about the private space launch?
I missed that.
Yeah, no, I believe I forgot the company, but I think last night we finally
SpaceX.
SpaceX. Yeah, SpaceX pushed out the first privately, non-military space launch into space. And guess what? Here's what I like the most. There was a black person on it. That means y'all ain't trying to leave us behind.
Let's see.
We see y'all.
Mike Hopkins, Soichi Noguchi, Shannon Walker, and well, how about that? They don't have the picture of the black person on here. Hang on, you kidding me, right? There you go. That's got to be an algorithm error, Twitter. The fact that they automatically pulled up the first three astronauts, but not the black man. That's an algorithm error, because I'm sure NASA didn't make that mistake. But anyway, I'm checking it out. I'm not really for, folks. I'm not for this private exploration of space, but it looks like that's the timeline we've chosen. Instead of us doing it as a collective group of citizens, we're doing it through for-profit corporations. So it looks like that's going to be the future of space exploration in our timeline.
Yeah, no.
I mean, we did away with NASA spaceships under the Obama administration, so as to supposedly give space for a better use of the funds. I know we were paying Russia. I am excited about the fact that we were paying Russia like $900 million per seat. So the fact that, I mean, we're saving money in that space. I don't know how I feel about someone owning a private spot that can get you to the moon, something that moves that fast. I mean, you're thinking about the power that propels a rocket into outer space. You're talking about basically the same amount of force that moves a nuclear weapon. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or a nuclear weapon. They went from, when I was watching the blast off, they went from Cape Calvo, Florida, over the coast of North Carolina in less than 2 minutes.
That's bad.
For y'all that don't know the map, I just say go look at that. They went from the central part of Florida to the coast of North Carolina in less than 2 minutes. I am
that's
super afraid of that's owned by Elon Musk now. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how I feel about that either. So
Bruh.
yeah, I'm with you on that, Ben.
Yeah, that you know what, you put it in context. Like it takes nothing to turn these space exploration tools into tools of domination, private, corporate backed interests. And a dude that I clown on Twitter on the regular basis, Elon Musk, it won't take nothing for him to direct one of those to my address in 2 minutes. And we turn a lot over. I know I'm being, exaggerating here, but we turn a lot of trust over to these corporations, man. Not only do they have every single data point on us, every data point, even the data points you don't want them to know, they got those data points, but we trust them with it. And now we're trusting them with taking us to Mars or delivering a payload.
And man, listen. All right. Here's my. Go ahead, Mondale.
No, I mean, I'm just nervous about what Ben just said. I mean, it's a fact.
Listen, I'm not nervous. You know why? Because here's my tinfoil hat. There's rich white people already living up there. What are you talking about? Hey, listen, they have a whole college. I don't care this is what we know about. This was the first public launch. Dude,
that's good.
They're already up there. They're already up there looking down on us, trying to figure out, looking at the telescopes, looking at the football games and all that shit. First, best view on the moon, walking around. Listen, this is the first launch that we know about. If you think that they haven't already been hanging out at that space station, drinking cocktails and
so they ready. They've
been ready. That's why I keep telling y'all, are they gonna leave us behind, or is it gonna be just Oprah and Jordan?
Well, I mean, basically they're gonna leave behind anybody who don't make enough money to pay for a $500 million seat. You know what I mean? Like, we all getting left behind, bro. Maybe Oprah and Jordan.
And honestly, you know what? I don't mind being left behind. I don't want to live a SpongeBob life where I got to be a squirrel on SpongeBob with the bubble on the entire time. You know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead and get all that dangerous gas in your system. I'm going to stay down here on Earth where I'm supposed to be, where, millions of years of evolution has prepared me for this life. I don't know if this is I don't know if there's people walking around drinking cocktails on the moon. But this is, it's the government. They keep secrets from us all the time. So whatever. I will say this: a person who we don't trust in business, I don't trust Tesla and Elon Musk that much, makes me nervous that he owns that much power. That's all.
Yeah.
The Tesla, listen, the 18-wheeler Tesla was kind of creepy in itself. The fact that it can carry an entire payload and still move 0 to 60 in under like 5 or 6 seconds. Now we're talking about him having a payload, which means he can move this spaceship in parts as fast as a sports car across this country, and that's creepy to me.
Like, bro, it is an unbelievable amount of power that we've given to a guy who engages in Twitter beefs. I mean, and I don't know if we're talking about Elon Musk or Donald Trump here, but is this the wave of the future? We just gonna keep turning over bigger and bigger portions of our government to people who can't hold it together on Twitter?
Both of them supported Kanye West, right?
Dude, they the same people, man.
Donald Trump, they the same people. Donald Trump and Elon Musk both supported Kanye West.
See what I'm talking about?
Presidential campaign. I'm talking about presidential campaign.
Oh,
see?
You know, it's a perfect album, man. Perfect album. I hate to give this man the credit like this, but Graduation was
amazing.
Dope ass album, beginning to end. But F Kanye West.
Hey, well, listen. First, Kanye been weird since he broke up with old girl, the one before him, and then he went to space. And because I promise you, he's a Space Force musical director.
What that theme song sound like? So the Space Force, if the Space Force had a theme song, kind of like Star Trek, everybody knows Star Trek theme song, right? It's a little meta, but what would it sound like in the chat room? Y'all tell me what it would sound like if Kanye West was the music director for Space Force.
Nah, well, don't kill me, can only make me strong. I promise you that's it. I promise you they bumping that, drinking daiquiris right now. Looking on this show like, how do they know? How did they find out? Who told Marcus?
What's Bo Cephas' real name? The guy, Bo Cephas used to do. He's a third. He used to do Hank Williams the third, or junior. He's junior, whatever. I think he would be he would write the song for a Space Force, American Pride. You know, he got kicked off the NFL for saying what he said about Obama. So I think that is Donald Trump's go-to for music creation. Kanye West may have a spot in the second line, but not as a director.
Not the director, so he ain't gonna be okay. So Kanye got to get behind Hank Williams Jr. You said.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's good.
Somebody tell MTV I don't want their money. Thank you, no thank you. MTV keeps trying to give me MTV keeps sending me emails to apply for this grant they got. I don't have time to give. It's a $10,000 grant, and listen, y'all, I'm not turning down money, but this is what donors do. Like MTV wants to take credit for. They're trying to offer $10,000 to groups. And they're going to release the money 60 days after you get approved for the money. The election will be over.
What?
That's crazy.
That is the epitome of white. And then they would be like, we are responsible for what happened in Georgia. We supported groups. Keep it, man. Thank you, no thank you. It's going to take too much time to fill out the grant application and also then do the reporting paperwork. And then you're going to give me the money 60 days after the election. Man, bye.
Plus, it's MTV, man. 10 stacks. All right, check this out.
10 stacks. Come on,
Hold on,
man.
Follow what I'm saying to you. I want y'all to just understand something. Since Babyface and LaFace and before Outkast, black people have been making MTV money.
Come on, man.
Out of Atlanta for a long time. We're talking about from the late 80s all the way to right now. So if y'all can give, and that's probably split between that's probably split between what, 10 groups.
Marcus, not to mention the $1 billion show they stole from Nick Cannon, but go ahead.
Right, okay, right.
That it ain't gonna survive without Nick Cannon, by the way.
Not.
But they think that's what those people think, man. Go ahead, Marcus.
Because I mean, Nick Cannon not only had talent, but he had relationships too to bring certain people on that literally are going to be like, yeah, we're not going to diss Nick just because y'all want us back on. I'm good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nah, man, we've been making money for. So if that's $10,000 split between what, maybe let's just say 10 people, then what? That's $100,000. So MTV decided.
Oh, you multiplying up? You saying that maybe they got 100,000? Yeah.
So MTV decided that we're gonna drop $100,000 on it and make it happen. Now, this is one of the blackest states in America, and your whole network has, ever since y'all decided to stop being racist, your whole network has been based off of what black people have been doing.
In Atlanta, particularly.
In Atlanta, particular. And you mean to tell me the only thing you can do to give us back to help us get free in this
is $100,000.
It's $100,000 or $1 million. And MTV should be dropping $5 million.
Even if it's 200. Right.
Yeah, that's a slap in the face.
In other news, I don't buy shoes, but I got these two pair of Ivy Parks. I got me some Beyonces. Y'all out here with Jordans. I got the Beyonces.
Hang on.
Try to get those.
We're gonna put you on the screen.
Try to get those. That's exclusive.
Put them up again so we can see them. You on the screen by yourself.
Exclusive Beyonces, baby. Ivy Park.
Those are nice
versions. Yeah.
Those are nice.
Yeah, you can't get these. It was available for 5 minutes. Yeah.
Let me tell you something, Mondale.
Beyonce.
There's a lot of places I won't go with you, but you don't want to go there with me, man. There's a lot of places I won't go with you.
Listen, I don't know anything about sneakers, but I do love these Beyonce sneakers.
They are sweet though.
I never owned a
Marcus, I was talking
a pair of Jordan, so I pride myself on that.
So Marcus, as you move into this, because quiet as it's kept, this is a influencer space, right? I was talking to my accountant. He said, well, yeah, that's what y'all are. Y'all are influencer. I'm like, man, I ain't no goddamn influencer, man. I just make videos. But anyway, this influencer space, you could probably write off them shoes, man.
So I got my shoes are investments.
That's what I'm saying. Like you did the actual investment.
I probably can, right? Like I don't even talk about my shoe collection. I was like, you can see, I finally designed behind me a little bit. I got a couple of pictures up behind me. I wish I could zoom in a little bit because there's some really cool pictures back there.
Well, before you zoom in, because I just want to make sure we don't skip past that, because I know people in the audience know this, but there might be some random user passing by that don't understand. Like those toys that you have behind you, those are an investment. They increase in value, and your shoe collection literally increases in value.
Yeah, how about this right here? My average shoe I buy for $200 to maybe $300, and it's worth, I guess my most valuable shoe is worth, my most valuable pair of Jordans is worth $3,000 right now, and I bought them. So that's crazy. Everybody has a thing. I also buy stocks. I bought NOI for $10, and it's worth $58 a stock right now. That was just 3 weeks ago. So you know what I mean? Like investing is very important to me because I like to see the return from things. And yes, my Funko Pop collection. I bought my Biggie Smalls for $10, and it's worth $370 right now. So investing is important. But I was gonna do the whole shoe thing, Funko thing behind me, and then my mom was like, "Would you be a freaking adult for a second and just put up
bro, Ben America." I'm gonna throw this to you, Mondale, but I want to put this on the screen. What Ben America put up. It is the space squirrel. It is the space squirrel. Hey man, Ben America, wow. Mondale, man. When I was talking about writing off shoes, you look like you're like, oh Lord, he is not talking about writing off shoes, or was it something else happening back there?
He just
no. I gotta. That is so funny. That space squirrel thing. I'm just gotta remember that part of the show is called Thirst Trap, Clickbaity. So wait. I've never even. Go ahead.
No, finish that thought. No, finish that thought. That was an important. You never even what?
Finish. Yeah, finich. With your blue suede shoes, because we know how much those cost, brother.
No. Listen. I'm saying I've never considered like how serious people were about sneakers until recently. Like I know people like I'm a whole tech nerd, so, and I sleep outside for iPhones. So people literally line up days before for sneakers, bro. Like. And I really was underestimating people's love for sneakers.
Am I the only one who's free here? Because I ain't lining up for nobody shit. I don't line up for no sneakers, no phones, no. Well, you know what? Because I ain't never had money to buy that shit before anyway. Let me hush. Go ahead, Marcus. Tell us about lining up for sneakers, man.
I don't.
You order them online? Like you just spot them?
No. So I'm not gonna get into it, but I just know how to get. How about this right here? I just know how to get what I need to get. That's all I'm gonna say. Because as soon as I go public with it, then I won't be able to get it no more.
Bro, Ben America said, Mondale ain't worried about sneakers. He got deck shoes on the boat. You got shoes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
On the yacht.
Mondale sent us a picture looking like a damn Kennedy.
like a black, like the black
Like a black
elitist,
Kennedy.
elite of the elite, political elite, just riding out
Hey,
on the
black hair was just blowing in the
Nasty.
breeze that way.
bruh.
Hair way
Wait a
hair way
minute.
too nappy to be a Kennedy or Nastis or any of them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, I mean,
hey,
you
I
ain't
didn't say
wrong.
one thing in the video. You know,
What'd you
I got this nappy hair. Look more like a Jackson, a Jesse Jackson son or something.
Hang on a second. Where,
Not no
okay.
Kennedy. for
Hey,
sure.
where was that? Where did you share that at, man? I wanna pull that up if that's okay
I
with you.
didn't.
Oh, you didn't share? Okay,
You
okay,
mean
okay.
I did.
Okay, so
No,
all
I'm
right.
just joking. I did share it. I'm just joking.
No. I'm
Yeah.
saying, did you share it? It's public, right?
I said, look at this.
Yes, public.
Look at this Negro sailing away from Camelot.
Wait a minute.
So,
Where is that video? I'm trying to play that. There you go.
It was dope. It was dope.
Time.
He was riding
It's
on a
on
yacht,
Facebook.
wind blowing in the hair blowing in the wind with a cocktail in his hands, man. That was some black royalty shit I seen there right there, bro. All right, let's see what everybody else is talking about in the chat room.
I mean, we could have. Listen. First off, we better enjoy nice stuff because the rich folks don't want us to have anything, experience anything, love anything. We're supposed to be.
So where's that threshold then, man? Where's that threshold between radicalism and like just trying to enjoy your life? So it's like, because here's what I'm saying. Like, I know a lot of people who are in the bourgeois-esque side of the black community who are like, you know, they feel like they still have their radical bona fides, and just because they just trying to enjoy their life don't mean that they're not radical. You know, but there's got to be a threshold somewhere, right?
Well, I mean, it's radical when you have money, but you try to allow other people to get money too. It's not radical when you have money and you do everything in your power to make sure that other people don't come along with you. That's the difference, right?
Okay.
It's radical when you support progressive candidates who want to equal the playing field against Wall Street. It's not radical when you just say Jim Clyburn's right. Right? Or why you got a problem with Jim Clyburn? You don't know what that brother went through in the 60s and the 70s, right?
Hey, let me play this video real quick of Mondale with his hair blowing in the wind. Look at that. Sunsetting.
Jacqueline.
Oh man, hang on a
Let me
second.
get in the picture.
How do I end this?
That's sweet.
Okay, there we go.
Hey, look at my plants.
Just blowing ever so subtly in the wind as the sun set off in the distance. The black man realized. Never mind. All right, go ahead, Marcus.
Hey, he was out there looking for Moby Dick, wasn't he? Pause.
We shall not bring that to this show. No, we are not bringing those.
Hey, but hold on. But listen, what I'm saying is this is very important, man. If you could get on a boat and take a selfie of yourself, selfie video of yourself, enjoying yourself, do it.
That's right.
Just
That's right.
do it. Like, I mean, you know.
So where's the threshold though? Where's the threshold? Like, let me ask Mondale this question, Mondale, because you probably walk that fine line between radicalism and like, but I'm gonna go buy these loafers over here, right? Where is that threshold in your mind? At what point do we become consumers so much that we lose our radicalism? Or is there a point, or is it like why even worry about it?
I think the point is when your Jesus is different. So when your shopping habits or your vacation habits become more important than like your efforts. I think to me self-care is revolutionary. Like, so I work extremely hard every year all the way up to election. And then I need time. I need expensive time, like toenails, fingernails, massage time. So, and I think it's that's an interesting question I don't think shaming people for, you know, like taking care of themselves, whatever they need, so Yeah, I think that's a good question, Ben. I just think as long as the work is getting done and your mission is your mission, then you should know that. I do believe though, if you are you know skipping protests to go to a Gucci store, or skipping something that's related to your mission statement to go to a concert and
Well, here's I
wherever
guess
I'm going. You know what I'm saying?
here's a flip side of that
I
question.
do know one thing that happened that might make me lose my radical bona fides, and that is the fact that Cuba just opened up Havana's airport, first time in 9 months. And anybody that know me know I used to go to Cuba once a week. So it might be real hard to keep a Negro still now that Havana's back open.
No, I mean, let me flip the question on its head then. Why is it that we actually have to care about that when we black? Because there's some pretty super wealthy ass socialists slash superstars on the left, and I don't think we ever asked that question about them.
Because it's a tribe.
Ooh.
Black folks are a tribe. I think we're still tribal even years after being stolen away from our homes, our ancestral homes. I think we still have tribal things in our DNA, no matter how far up we get, no matter how far down we go. I think there's certain people who realize it and certain people who don't. I think that if you look at the billionaires of America, the black billionaires of America, we always try to put a lot on them, right? The Oprah didn't start a school in America. She started a school in Africa. Well, she started something, right? I think Bob Johnson, he did this, that, and the other, and he sold MTV to Viacom. Well, he made his money and he did this, that, and the other. But then I think about the younger black folks like LeBron. LeBron gives a sizable amount of money to black folks stuff, and he's a billionaire, right? And I'm not sitting up here saying that these folks are perfect, right? But when we talk about what's enough and what's not enough, what's the American dream and what's that allowed for? I think if you lose touch with your culture and your community, and I think the more that communication online and the more that the internet grows and becomes more open, and the more reception that black folks get, even no matter how rich they get, about what you're doing for the community, and also how awake our community is, where they actually are. There's millions of people who say, "Oh yeah, your new album's great, but you haven't done nothing for black folks in years, and you expect me to worship you, right? I'm not worshiping you. You come from XYZ America, and you haven't did nothing for the block that you came from." I think that we're going to be forced. I think there's going to be a sort of a grand forcing of certain people to have to do for their community. And I also think that there's nothing wrong with riding on the boat and taking a vacation with your people. I don't think there's nothing. Bro. Yeah, I think there's both.
Hey, I'm gonna toss it to you, Mundell. But Chuck Diesel said on YouTube, Mundell was cruising on the USS James Evans. Good times, baby. What's your thoughts, Mundell? Why we even got to address that issue as black folks? Because nobody, it's an expectation. Like you go around certain white communities, no matter what their politics are, they have wealth to match their level, right? They're living a certain level of life that we ask ourselves as black folks, should we be seen like that? Are we less radical but that's not even a question in other neighborhoods.
Yeah, I mean, but the answer is the question, right? Because we're black folk. So we know America expects superhuman stuff out of black people, meaning we need you to save this country and also be extremely poor while you're doing it.
Facts.
I'm gonna go a step further. Mondale is exactly right, because I think about how much it takes to be an organizer and how much money you make. Now, everybody who watched this show know that we go meta when it comes down to consultants and organizing, but I'm gonna go back meta for a second. In these conversations about where money goes, whether all the money goes to television or all the money goes to field, if you look at any campaign in America, most black people are in the field. Still to this day, even if a black candidate is there. And most white people are in the office. If you have $1 million and a television consultant or a consultant says, well, you need to spend $1 million on ads, I mean, need to spend $900,000 on ads and $100,000 on the field. That leaves probably 15 to 20 to 30 to 40 people splitting $100,000 for a campaign cycle. So that's not a lot of money. There's no retirement. There are some campaigns that are pushing for benefits on campaigns, right? There are some organizations that want to unionize campaign workers, but when you think about it, for the most part, a lot of these organizers that you see for organizations, a lot of these canvassers that you see, there's no retirement in that. They're not. Most of them aren't making a living wage, and there's no retirement in it. So they're out here real freedom fighters. Literal, real freedom fighters fighting for freedom every day, and some of the brokest people on the planet.
Oh yeah, facts. All day long, man.
It's like they believe freedom fighting is supposed to be free.
And it's just a gag, right? It's a gag to keep us from ever having the kind of actual power we need for an actual revolution, right? You're not going to have an actual revolution without there being some major dollars involved in that. And so there's not going to be actual factual liberation until there's money that can fight that, right? They expect us to lose the fight against greed because we can't handle the fight of having some money. That's what they really count on. So that's why they play those same games on us every single time. AOC wore a shirt that cost $5,000 in a photo shoot that she later on had to turn and give it back. But nope, that's the story. We got to be concerned with everyone who's fighting for liberation being poor, just keeping the poor mindset. But anyway,
I mean, but that's how we eat the rich. That's why we need to elect more poor people. Right? And I'm not sitting there calling Cori Bush poor, but she definitely called herself middle class, and I know for a fact that she is. Her going to D.C. is a lot better than Nancy Pelosi going to D.C.
Absolutely. We need, you know what? If you haven't had a 3-day eviction notice on your door, if you haven't had your lights cut off at least once, right? If you ain't had whatever the different struggles we all have on a regular basis, if you ain't ever had to go to the check cashing store at least once in your day, I don't know if you qualify to actually lead in 2020.
I think even better, if you haven't legit been hungry for 2 days straight without a diet, without it being a diet.
Yeah.
That's sort of the litmus test right there. Have you been hungry for 2 days straight?
Because otherwise, you really don't have a lot of connection with what the average American goes through. Average American is actually trying to risk COVID-19 so they can hit that check cashing store to get that payday advance. You know what I mean? That's what folks, man. I don't even know when it was I stopped using payday. It just eventually I was able to crawl out from underneath it. So if you haven't had some of those experiences, you really ain't qualified to be. I
want to bring up something I saw on Facebook. Jacqueline Horton says, I saw a state organizing director position for $36,000.
Yeah. Let me pull that one back up. That bro. You can't
travel the state on $36,000.
Bro, you got to sit at home. You got to sit at home so the gas don't burn out with $36,000 a year, right? You ain't driving to the other side of Atlanta to do no organizing because you ain't got no gas money.
Jesus Christ. I mean, but a lot of these are good organizations that are just underfunded also, right? Because we're so busy giving us off and okay, let me.
Nah, dog. I mean, and it's the fact.
Campaigns all this money, you know what I mean? And so what I am excited about is I'm excited about the conversation that the black progressives who recently got elected are having about reparations. Like, I am happy that they are actively bringing it up on a consistent basis. Yeah. And like Mondaire Jones and I'm just very.
Can I ask
happy
you a question about Mondaire? Maybe y'all can help me out because he's not included in the marketing for the squad, for the new squad. They included Corey, they included Jamal, and then of course they included the original members of the squad. But they don't have Mondaire there. Is there a reason he's not considered in that group, or am I missing something? What's on y'all radar, or have y'all even heard about it?
Oh, I listen, man, we just got to be honest. I mean, he's a black guy that got elected. He's not a squad member. And I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
I don't know enough about him. Can't front.
And I'm saying that as somebody who endorsed his campaign because he was better than the person he was running against, and also worked on him, helped him get the work done. But I also know the fights that we had with that campaign. So that ain't no progressive over there, and we just got to be honest with that. I mean, like, the brother is he's a black man, he got elected, but him scared to say certain things because of the demographic of his district made me look at him differently.
Yeah, you could tell when somebody's a progressive and when they aren't, outside of just talking points, right? You could tell if somebody's a progressive or not with how they treat organizations that want to help their campaign. You could tell if someone's a progressive or not by the people that they hire on the campaign, right? And whether there's enough nuance to have a diverse mindset on conversations, right? So, I just think about that. I think about that, and I think about, like, I don't know enough about the brother to actually make a decision but it's quite obvious that the members of the squad were like, nah.
And I was wondering to what extent it was coming from the squad who are like, yeah, no, we're good, versus, like, how everybody else tries to determine what the squad is. Like, the particular graphic I'm thinking of actually came from C-SPAN. C-SPAN did a graphic of the squad, and it didn't include Mondaire Jones. So I didn't know if that was coming from within or from without, or if there's some other pressures. But if it's just as simple as he's not progressive, then that's an easy answer. That's pretty straightforward.
And some folk opt not to be associated with the squad because of fear from what they think their district is, and also like how they're going to be treated by the rest of the their congressional house counterparts. I'll tell people a lot of the times, and I ain't even gonna front. Deciding to be in politics and also being on the outside is an interesting space, and some folk ain't built for it. I mean, that's why I feel like so many people take the bag and go inside. This is to be over here is to be an interesting space, and you have to be cool with not being part of the inside crowd. And some folk can't take that. Some folk want to be in DC and invited to everything. I'm cool with hanging with who I hang with and never being invited to political events, because this decision to be on the outside is not just like some me trying to be coy. It's a decision that I know this is where I work best, and also I'm not held accountable or reliable to what the party tells me to do and how they tell me to show up.
Right.
Plus my friends are cooler than them. How about that? Like, I much rather hang out with CJ and other folks around the ATL than try to clamber my way into the Washington DC space where there are a bunch of sharks that want to just literally have. I mean, if DC ain't high school all over again,
bro.
but a worse, because people have
power,
Gucci shoes and Louis bags and go around trying to go to the park and have VIP tickets because I'm the Secretary of State's assistant director of pencil pushing. Like, I don't want to have nothing to do with. And I'm good. I'm straight.
Yeah, they can keep all that nerd prom shit.
Let me also be clear though, because I don't want people to think. Listen. The squad, I don't think the squad is like this exclusive group. They're not making themselves out to be exclusive. They just have a set of values that they roll with. And I think some media outlets are considering Mondaire as part of the squad or a new squad. I don't even know if so it is what it is. I'm just telling you, it is what it is as it pertains to me and that group of folk. I tell you, if I were dealing with people on a regular basis, and when I do deal with people in Longworth or whichever building they're in, it's always a pleasure to run into those folk in Congress compared to the rest of some of them. And that's been in 100.
All right, let's read.
Some of them are elected officials that I swear are elected. They think they're elected by money and for money.
DGMG said, Mondale, your knowledge is like a jewel. The Portal said, We are the squad, and those queens ain't going to be able to do stuff until we mobilize. Damn, I'm like screaming into the abyss. No, we hear you. We hear you. And people are organizing. And
there's some brothers in the squad too.
Yeah. Yeah. People are organizing, and I love the move. And the move is right. Challenge right now. That's how you put pressure on this administration. You don't wait until 2021 and give them a free pass and say, oh, well, we had to wait until give them the first 100 days. Nah, y'all go out there and put on pressure just the way they are. You go, boy. I hear you, Mundell. That's from Rory Miller on YouTube. Let me see if I got any Facebook. Facebook, get them comments up. Get them likes
real quick.
up.
I got to give a shout out, though, because everybody always talk about my sweaters. But I don't know what Mondale got on today, but that thing is hard body. What is that, dude? What is that sweater? What is that hoodie?
It's Basquiat from the African American Museum.
Oh, okay. That's supporting the culture right there.
Yes, it is.
Got it. All I got was a whack ass hat.
Always.
Let's see what else we got going on. Jamal Levar said, "Chip Squad until I die." I feel it.
Chip Squad. Jesus Christ.
Chip Squad, right? Squirrel Squad, Chip Squad, Chipmunks up. We got a whole thing going on here. Dan Prolo or Prol X said, "Take the money out of politics. We have to." I mean, until we get there, we got to fight. All right, fellas, we are up at the 2-hour mark. We got about a few minutes left here. Anybody want to get the last word? Anything last story that's on your mind? What we got?
I think it's been a while since I got the last word. Listen, we're down here in Georgia. We're putting in work. And we're on this show every day to try to like bring you not only good quality content, but like bring you the truth in some matters. And I'm just gonna go personal with this one right here. I'm a fan of Democrats. I just think the Democrats can do way better, right? I'm a fan of Bernie Sanders, but when he makes statements like, "I don't believe in defunding the police," it sets a precedent for so many people who follow him who obviously does not understand what is being asked when we say defund the police. And also not realize that the litmus test on the left when it comes down to defund the police is centrist. Reform the police is literally to the right, and abolish the police is to the left, right? So we are always bringing up this conversation about defunding the police, but I'm gonna bring up a bigger conversation before we get off, and that's this right here. When black people talk, listen to them. In the 60s, we spoke, and nobody thought we were okay or good about the 60s until the 80s came around, and then y'all treated all of us like heroes. When we gave you warnings about like believing in Black Lives Matter, you got to understand something. Now corporations are saying Black Lives Matter, but just 6 years ago, when we said Black Lives Matter, people literally refused to say it, and these were Democratic candidates, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. And their first initial statements were all lives matter. So everybody has to develop. Everybody has to grow. But you shouldn't have to grow after black people time and time again have always told you the truth about where you need to be at. I'm not talking about the Clyburns. I'm talking about the people on the street who live right next to you who've been telling you what they need for their communities. So right now, defund the police might seem like a little nasty thing. But I guarantee you, years from now, you're going to look back on it and figure out which was the right side of the house. Thank you for watching Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. Please join us again tomorrow from 8:30-ish
until 10:30-ish. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.